Welcome to the Win, Make, Give podcast. It's Chad Himes here and Bob Wait a minute now. You're not where you normally are, Mr.
I'm
Stewart.
not. But I'm where we used to normally be.
Yes. Now, which chair are you in?
Well, we left. Hold on. We
room?
left Dave. Dave's been in this room for the last 2 years without us. It might be longer than 2 years now. It's totally rearranged, Chad. I think he took your desk. Is not even here anymore. Your desk has left the building.
Dave, I'm hurt. I know he's there. I'm hurt. Is Dino still there, though?
No, Dino's gone. Like I'm telling you, Dave's like enough Ben Kinney, Chad Himes, and Bob Stewart in here. He totally reorganized.
Okay. Do you think, Bob, now that you've walked into the room, do you think Dave has left the room in the last 2 years? Or do you think he's basically moved in and he's been a hermit?
Dave has like a secret elevator that he doesn't even go into the rest of the building. The elevator just brings him right into this room. Yeah.
All right. Well, we have some great memories in the podcast room, and it's good to see you sitting there, even though I don't recognize it. And a big shout out to our favorite person in the background there, Dave, who is the person in the background for all of these.
Dave told me to tell you better act right on this interview. We have a really awesome lady with us today, and he said if you act wrong, he gave me. There's a button right here. I can just push it. I don't have to listen to you anymore.
Awesome. Can I get one of those at my house, Dave? I will fly you to Florida to wire that one up. So there you go.
Yeah, I have no question. Your wife wants a shut Chad up button. Is that what you meant?
Well, I meant to quiet you, but yeah, he has one of those, Bob. She just says, and I shut up, right? I know better. All right, but we are not here to hear you. We are not here to hear me. All we're here to do is ask some great questions of our amazing guest, Maya Elious, who's joining us here today. I won the wager on how your name was spelled. Maya, welcome to the Win, Make, Give podcast.
Hey, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to see what we get into today.
Where are you? I know Bob is up north in Bellingham, Washington. I'm as far from Bob as I think almost geographically possible down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Where are you?
I am based in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been traveling a little bit recently because the cold in Atlanta recently is just, it's not in alignment with what I need. So I actually just got back from Cartagena. Thank God, right before, things started shutting down, and I'm going to be in Panama in a few weeks. So here in Atlanta, but chasing the beach and the sun.
I love that. I got to an age, I think, like I'm 47 years old. I feel like just in the last year, like I now understand why everybody moves to Arizona and Florida. Like my bones have gotten cold. I'm like, it's 50 degrees. I shouldn't be this cold, but like I'm not even kidding. Here, I'll show you. I go everywhere now. You can see it. The audience can't. With my Canada Goose jacket, I'm freezing all the time. Like so, I can appreciate just getting out of town when it's freezing. I love that.
100%.
That's why I moved to Florida.
Yeah, that Chad's old enough that he actually made the jump. He's like, I'm out of here. I'm going. He's in a community. They play pickleball every night.
I love that. I want to move my parents out to Florida.
Thank you. Yeah. Come on down. You can be my guest. We'll get in some pickleball down here. Now, Maya, other than us just chatting about all that fun stuff, our audience doesn't know you, and you might not know. I refuse to read the bio that was sent over. That is, Chat GPT written and all that kind of stuff. Just tell us who
it's really good, by the way. We appreciated it, but we want to hear from you who you are.
That is so funny. I don't know if I've used ChatGPT to write any copy for me because I am a messaging expert. I love copy. It's my jam. A lot of my friends and clients call me Maya GPT when they need help with their own copy. So I would go toe-to-toe with ChatGPT. But my name is Maya Elious. I'm a business coach and brand strategist. And a lot of my clients come to me wanting to enhance their messaging and attract high-end clients. The women that I work with are coaches, experts, consultants. They want to position themselves as experts online. And one of the things that I ask them is, what are you the absolute best at? What would you say you are the top 1%? And you have to be confident enough to say, I would go against, somebody who is just amazing. Like I would say, I would go against ChatGPT to write your copy and I would win for sure. So I want everybody to have that level of confidence in their expertise.
Bob, what comes to mind for you?
What am I top 1%?
Yeah, what are you that good at?
Real estate lead conversion. Like, I mean, Chad, it's funny, because I was reading through some of your stuff, and Chad often jokes, I'm a stalker. Like I'm online, I'm looking at your Facebook, right? I'm reading your stuff, and you have this thing that you had written something, I don't know, it was like earlier this month about confidence and it leading to consistency. And Chad, the reason I say that is I've spent 21 years doing that thing, and I think there was many times over that period that I've been uncertain of myself, right? And like your confidence, it grows, and sometimes you're maybe not feeling awesome today and it's not there for you. But I think when you've committed 21 years consistently to something, Chad, and there almost hasn't been a work day in 21 years that I have not done something in that vein of, real estate lead conversion. Yep. The confidence comes along with the consistency of having done it for 20 years. Maya, do you see most of the people I would imagine that are saying, hey, I'm doing this. It's something they do like every day, right?
For sure. Yeah. I love what you said. And I think what people also don't consider is not only have we been doing it for, you've been doing it for 20 years. I've been in the branding space for about a decade and a half. But it's the fact that we've been doing it and we sucked at it at one point and we failed multiple times and we still said, you know what, I'm going to keep doing it. And so if you're not willing to fail, look stupid in front of people, you're not going to be able to build that confidence. I think a lot of people's confidence is rooted in how other people perceive them rather than the confidence in I'm showing up no matter what until I start seeing results. And then I'm going to start optimizing my results.
God, that's so, most people, when they think that people have an impression of them, that they're not awesome at that thing, they will just stop doing that thing.
Right.
They're like, I don't want to be seen as the guy that gets on the phone trying to convert real estate leads and they're laughing at me and they're telling me F you and where to get my phone number and I'm on my back foot. I don't want to be that guy. I was that guy, by the way. Like I was 100%. Really bad at it for years.
Oh my gosh. When I look back at my old MySpace designs, because I started out, designing MySpace pages in college, I'm like, girl, I can't even believe you charge people money for this, but you're going to suck before you get better. So it is what it is.
It's funny because today, like when I think back all those years ago when I was, learning my craft, it wasn't very public. Like I was in my room getting the shit kicked out of me, right? And getting beat up on the phone. And there was not today. It's a little bit different. Like I think if you're going to go online, like the clients that you work with, and you're going to portray a certain level of confidence or expertise, it's a little bit different than when I was in the war room on the phone getting the shit kicked out of me. I was kind of commiserating with my buddy, and they were watching me fail. How do you position people to kind of put that armor on to go out on the social medias and potentially fail?
Yeah, man, that's such a good question because to your point, like back when I started, I imagine back when you started, we weren't really promoting on Facebook. Instagram wasn't a thing. Podcasts weren't as big as they are now. And so really succeeding, especially when you're building a personal brand, requires you to have a level of visibility. And that's why I do ask my clients before you do the photo shoot, before you build a website, before you go live, what are you the absolute best at? Because you want to lead with where you're already confident. So you're not overthinking the colors and the fonts and all of those things. So I would say, consider what you're the absolute best at and share your brand story, which is just essentially sharing your past experiences. What do you talk about naturally? When I think about the online space, I think we overthink, followers and the amount of people that are watching us. And one of the most important things you can do as you're building your audience in your online community is to think of them as one person instead of hundreds of people or instead of thousands of people. And the reason that I say that is because if somebody bumped into you at a coffee shop and they were like, hey, can you, I just started this real estate business, but I'm not getting any leads. I have no idea what to do. You would already instinctually know what to say to them. You already have a framework in your head, even if you don't identify that it's a framework. You would be able to talk about this thing for hours. And so I say to them, what is the thing that you could talk about for 2 hours, 3 hours, and still have more to say? And just do that. Go online with the desire, wanting to serve people and answer questions rather than trying to seem like something. So just show up authentically. I know that's such a buzzword, but truly show up as if you were talking to one person in a coffee shop that was struggling because they didn't, they weren't able to tap into your level of genius.
God, that is so good. Chad, I saw you nodding your head over there when she said, like, look, both Chad and I we've been doing this long enough that Chad, look, maybe this has never happened to you, but I've definitely shown up in a Zoom room where I'm going to be the teacher. And in my head, they'd promoted this thing widely and there's 5 people on there. And I'm like, and that's like a blow to your ego, right, Maya? I'm like, God damn, I thought there was going to be 500 people on this thing and there's 5 and I still got to bring it like with the same thing. Like, even if I don't have a massive following, I could show up and talk to one person. And, if I solve that person's problem today, I help them. Tomorrow, there might be another person in there, right? There might be 2 people in there. And, 20 years later, Chad, we've got, a couple thousand people that listen to the podcast every episode, right? But there's been plenty, I think, Maya, in the beginning where there wasn't very many there, right?
Maya, how do they do it? Right. Okay. So you're asking that question, which is, what are you okay. The problem, I think, is most people will give you the answer that they want to be best at, not necessarily what they are, right? They want to be best at whatever because that's what brings the dollars, or they want to be best at what, right? That brings the fame, whatever it is. When you're talking to somebody, what questions might you ask them to help them self-discover what they really are the best at, that our audience can take 5 minutes and listen to this part that you're about to go through a few times and answer these questions and help themselves come out of it and realize, this is the thing, I'm better than anybody else, in my opinion, so I have the confidence to do it?
Oh, yes, that's a great question. Well, I think the first thing I would ask them is, tell me how. Tell me how. So whatever you're the absolute best at, it should be a result that you can produce for yourself or for somebody. So if you say, I'm the absolute best at helping people generate leads in real estate, I would say, okay, tell me how. And if you stutter, you pause, you don't know how to answer that question, there's no way you can be the absolute best because it's just already inside of you. And not stuttering and pausing from the standpoint of like, oh, if you go on stage and you have stage fright. But if it's a one-on-one conversation, to my point of saying, you would be able to talk about this thing for hours because you know it like the back of your hand and you're just so excited about it. So I would first ask, tell me how. What would you say to somebody who's struggling with getting more leads? What would you say to somebody who is struggling to lose weight? What would you say to somebody who wants to have better skin? I would ask them as a scenario and see how they respond.
I think she's been stalking us, Chad. She knew that you used to struggle with your weight. She knew that when I was growing up, I had the worst skin ever. Like, she just pinned us, bud.
That is hilarious.
I got the skin thing figured out. But
I would ask them that. And then I would ask them, how do you know that this gets results? Have you been able to do this for yourself or for other people? And for you to claim that you're the best at it, you need to have evidence of it, right? So, and some people are afraid to call themselves experts because they haven't had clients before. But the truth is, typically you might be starting out because you've done it for somebody else, or you've done it for a 9-to-5, or you've done it for friends and family for free. And so I don't want you to measure your expertise based on how well you've been paid, because that's where I come in. My clients come to me as experts. They're just not paid as experts should be paid. And so long you have the skill set, the experience, and the results to back up what you're saying you can do for people, we can help you, craft your messaging, positioning the value, and make the money.
Okay, so folks, if you're out there and you're saying, I'm the best at, but I haven't gotten paid for it the way I should, right? Maybe it's a time to go type your way over to Maya's website.
Chad, you just said like, maybe it's the time. I'm just telling you guys right now, there has never been a better time in the history of the world than right now to take some skill that you're passionate about and that you are the best at and go monetize it. Like, it is like, Chad, we're of the age where we can joke and be marveled at the fact that there are kids out there making millions of dollars playing fucking video games, right?
Drives me freaking nuts. Where was that?
Like, I'm like, I would have done that on Super Mario Brothers. Like, I was really good at Super Mario. I could have got paid for it.
Bob Pong.
Yeah. He's going back. That's how old. Maya's like, I've never heard of that.
Maya's
That's
like,
the video game.
Pong,
She's way
right?
too young for Pong, Chad.
She said she goes back to before Instagram. I go back before cell phones, Maya. Come on.
That's hilarious. I know Pong with the ball and the little.
Yeah. She knows. Okay. But seriously, right? Like, social media has totally transformed your ability to go out and get paid for a skill. It could be a very
100%.
narrow niche skill.
Yeah. And I think I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and they were looking at something they wanted to buy, and they're like, I wish I had the money for this. I'm like, you should never be sitting around wishing for money when you have a skill set. The only thing you need to do is log on and go find you some clients. And so I think, to your point, there's no better time than now to log online and go figure out how to get your money. I work with a lot of women who are Christians, and, they'll say, I'm praying for this or I'm praying for that, which I'm always down for prayer. I pray about every little single tiny detail of my life. But it's really important to not dismiss the practical aspects of your life and over spiritualize how to go get money. And so the only thing you need to pray for is the skill. And once you have the skill, you don't have to pray for money. You need to then go log on and promote yourself and get a website or go do a webinar, get on a podcast, start your own podcast. You need to pray for the courage to finally get on YouTube. You need to pray for the courage to come up with content ideas, which you don't even have to pray for that. Just go to ChatGPT. Give me 10 content ideas on whatever your expertise is.
Whoa. Stop giving away some of our podcast secrets. It's just come up with some of these episode ideas.
Right. But it's just too simple to make money these days. So if you're feeling nervous, you're feeling discouraged,
all right. So Maya, I'm 15 minutes into this podcast episode, and I'm like, I like what this woman is saying. Give them the website if they want to connect with you. We'll plug it again later, but give them the website if they want to connect with you.
Yes, MayaElious.com, MayaElious.com.
It's a lot of vowels in there, folks, right? A-E-I-O-U, all that stuff. Just check her name right here in the podcast description if you're sitting there going, what'd she say? Right? And you'll be able to find it. Okay. So you have this term brand confidence, and we've kind of talked about this, right? It's having the confidence in what your brand, but how far does it go? Right. Once I know what I'm the best at, and I would honestly have to sit down and kind of figure out how to turn it into a sentence for me, because I would be like, well, I'm really good at this, really good at that, really good at that. But how do I what's the umbrella that all fits? How do I then turn that into a whole brand?
So to your point, so first getting very clear on what it is that you're great at. So that is the first step. I'm really clear on this. Then consistently making sure that you are putting out content and being seen as the person who is the absolute best. Then I would say closing clients, actually getting clients, actually working with them, refining how you coach, refining how you provide your service, and then making sure that you are getting testimonials. I feel like it's a very simple framework. Some of the confidence is not just going to come from the clarity, but making sure that the people you're working with are getting results. And so in the business coaching space, a lot of coaches will talk about how much money they've made and all the things they've been able to do. And one of the things we measure is what is the success of our clients? Like, we know that 75% of our clients who actually go through the framework and actually launch are going to get an ROI, when investing with us. We know that the majority of our clients, I would say about 60%, are launching at about 8 to 9 weeks once they join the program. And so part of that confidence is just paying attention to the stats, paying attention to the data. And so sometimes we want to lead with ego. Sometimes we want to lead with feelings. And it's like, let's pay attention to the data. Let's pay attention to the facts and, just be very intentional about getting people results.
As soon as someone tells me how much they make, I stop listening. That's just, I had a good week, so I'm going to tell you I make all this, so you should follow me and give me more money. It's like the old scam that said, send me $1 and I'll tell you how to make $1,000. And then you got back a little piece of paper that said, run an ad in the paper that said, send me $1 and you got to get $1,000 because 1,000 people are going to send in the $1. Folks, stop talking about how much you make. Nobody cares what you make. It's what can you do for them, right? How are you going to help them be better? That's going to help it. Now, Bob, I know you had a question. Maya, how far does that brand go into? You mentioned it even earlier, right? Don't worry about the photo. Don't worry about the color. Don't worry about how much of the brand does that then almost create, right? Do I almost, Bob said his expertise was in, internet lead generation conversion. My expertise, if I were to sit down and find the sentence for it, I don't necessarily have the sentence for it, but mine would be speaking to large groups and being able to break down complicated things to easy activities for them to be able to succeed with. So my photo on my websites and stuff like that, it's me up on a stage. It's me speaking. It's me doing that, right? You hear Bob say internet lead generation. Should his headshot be different than mine on his website? Because should he be showing that that's what he's doing somehow? How much should our people really get into it? A lot of them are real estate lenders, things like that. And they just use these standard, crop pictures. How much should that expertise come out in our brand image? Because Coca-Cola swoosh and Nike swoosh and McDonald's Big M, none of that show me a big burger or the best soda in the world or anything like that. They just have catchy images.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely when it comes to visuals. Well, I would first say, as you're building your personal brand, I wouldn't compare, what corporate brands are doing, because we do recognize their logos. But even when you do look at those corporate brands, they're still using a face, which is like, before we had influencers, we had models and we had actors and we had actresses. And so we would like see a really beautiful model eating, a Big Mac. And then you would see the arches or whatever. And it's like, oh, go get this food. And so you want to have a photo that's, professional, whatever, but you want to show a little bit of personality and relatability. But my point was that we don't want to overthink, like, what do the colors need to be? What does the logo need to be? When you see these brands who are spending all this money on the logo, they're spending all of this money after they make the money. Like, why are you spending money on having the perfect logo when nobody even knows your name? Let people see your face. And so I would say when it comes to imagery, yes, you can have a headshot, but it is really important to have imagery that really aligns with your personality. When I first started, I had an online design agency. I used to try to make my photos look so corporate-y. And I was like, you don't work with corporate clients. You work with other women who look like you. And I know back then, like, I used to have this thought process, and I worked with other Black creatives who we just thought in our mind that we needed to have like stock photos. And we just thought like, oh, we won't be able to get clients if people see that we're young, or if people see that, we're creatives of color or whatever it was. So we would lead with these stock photos, and it's like, nobody knows the person behind the stock photos. And also you have the stock photo and they get on the phone with you and they're like, this is not what was on your website. So it's like you had a picture of a 45-year-old white man and they get on the phone and it's like, we see a 22-year-old Black girl. Like, what's going on here? So you might as well lead with who you are and be okay with that. And the reason I say that is because I had this thing in my mind where I'm like, okay, the people who have the most money are going to be corporate white men from the ages of like 45 to 60. And it's like, girl, what corporate white men are you casually hanging around? Like, that's not in alignment. So you want to really think about your personal brand. So I got rid of my feelings and I looked at the facts, and I started looking at, let's look at your PayPal and see who's paying you. It's primarily Black women of color who have nonprofits or they have purpose-driven businesses. Those are the ones who are paying you consistently, and they happen to look like you. So when you lead with yourself, with an authentic version of yourself, with your photos, being funny, being witty, if that's your personality, you're going to naturally attract people who you enjoy working with, which is a big part of this, right? If you just want to make money, you could go drive an Uber, you can go sell stuff there's a million ways to make money. The goal here is to make good and profitable money working on projects or with people that you enjoy. So you might as well just show up in a way that's going to attract those projects and people.
I got part of that with you, Bob. We don't have the profits because we get paid nothing, and we do this just to give the value, but I at least get to work with people I enjoy.
Wait, what? Did you hear that, Maya? That's the first time he said that. We're in episode 785,000. He finally gave me a compliment.
I was talking to Dave. I know he's back there somewhere. All right, Bob, you had a question for Maya.
From a content perspective, I think people overthink this. I think you would say, shit, your first piece of content, just sit down, get in front of a camera and talk about the thing that you're an expert in, right? But like, how much?
Yeah.
How wide? Do I need to have something on TikTok and Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and do I need to do it every day? And like, kind of give me a sense of, And look, I realize there's no one size fits all answer here, but give me a sense as you're helping some, a business owner launch their brand. What does that look like? What are you guiding them on in terms of the quantity and maybe the breadth of the content?
Yeah, I would say start off on 2, maybe 3 platforms. And you do want to start off way more consistent. You're going to want to do every day, not because it's going to bring immediate results, but early on, you need to start paying attention to different patterns. And so you need to have different types of content so you can see what your audience is paying attention to. And I like my clients starting off on Instagram. I like them starting off on Facebook because they've already had their Facebook profile with their friends and their family. And so the goal isn't necessarily start on Facebook and you're instantly going to get clients and customers, but you want to just see naturally how consumers think. So put information out there, put something out there that's polarizing, put something out there that might trigger a pain point and see how people are responding to it. And
wait. Hang on. Pain point about your expertise. Don't just go out there and say, the president of the United States, whatever your feelings are. That's not what she's saying, folks. She's saying about what your expertise is, find a pain point that you can solve.
Damn, that's too bad. I had a whole bunch of things that I wanted to get off my chest.
Yeah, I'm sure. You know better than to be posting that.
I was about to flip the camera around on myself and let some people know some things.
That is
back to you, Maya. I just wanted to make sure people heard that correctly.
Okay.
I am so glad you reiterated that because I'm looking at people, obviously we're in a, really like heated political season right now. And it's like, it's nice for you to have your feelings, but it's like, how is this affecting you growing your business? Work on growing your business so you don't have to be so upset about all of this stuff. So talk about the pain points of what your ideal client is dealing with. Talk about how you relate to it. Spark conversation that's going to be edifying and fruitful to your business. So I would definitely say just start there.
And even, you're saying post something daily on at least 2 of the socials, right, that are out there: LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, which are MySpace. If you're that old and you still have it, right, it's probably not going to get you much of a response though. But it's posting something daily. Do you believe, as you're coaching your people, is it do video? Is it doesn't matter? Is it alternate again so you can see, are they interacting more with video or are they interacting more with text? Take it to that next level.
Yeah. Well, as a messaging expert, I first think, is the message good? Because whether it's text, whether it's, the slides or the carousels on Instagram, whether it's video, if the messaging isn't good, it really doesn't matter how you are packaging it. So first, make sure that the messaging is good, which is also kind of why I like Facebook as a litmus test, because with your friends and your family and your internal network, like you can just post a long post and people will read it if it's actually good. And so I know when I'm on Facebook, I'm typically reading content. And then if it performs well, then maybe I want to turn it into a carousel where I just have like the bigger text and you're sliding through it on Instagram. And if it performs well on there, maybe I'll make it, a short 45-second video. So I personally like to start with text. There are some people who actually like video or they like audio and they just want to voice record themselves. So I'm like, okay, well, just grab your phone, record yourself kind of like as a selfie and just share your opinions. But I would say do a mixture of it. I like to test first with text, but I do think a mixture is helpful, especially with algorithms prioritizing video.
How do you... Okay. So once a day.
I love when he gets this way, when he has the question, but he can't figure out what it is exactly.
Yeah. So once a day, how do you get clients out of this? Like, are you ever, is it calls to action? Do I need to say something at the end of my video? Am I telling them to text a number? Am I just never addressing it and hoping that people slide into my DMs? I think that's what the kids say. Like, how do my clients materialize?
Oh, that is such a good question because you do need to ask for the sale. Like I tell my clients, you're not going to make sales if you're not asking for the sale. And so, yes, we want to put out the good content, but we can't get so caught up in the content and giving away free stuff that we're not, getting people to actually take action. I think one of the questions you guys had also asked was like, how much is too much, right? Do we want to give it all away? Do we not want to give it all away? I typically don't overthink that because, again, I feel so confident in my topic that I could give 80% of it away and the best value is still in that last 20%. But whatever you decide to give away, you do want to have a clear call to action. Let people know that you're available for hire. So if you're saying, I'm taking on clients to help them blank, right? I'm taking on clients to help them generate more leads. I'm taking on clients to help them lose 15 pounds in the next 90 days. I'm taking on clients to whatever that result is. And we'll work together within this time frame. If you're interested, send me a message. If you're interested, click this link. If you're interested, join the waitlist, whatever that call to action is. But do let people know that you are open and available to take on clients. And I would tie that with a very clear time frame and result.
One of the things Chad and I have learned over the years, you were talking about like, I give away 80%. Sometimes we give away 100% and they still come to you and they go, I know you showed us exactly how to do this, but can you just do it for me? Or like I go online all the time. I'll watch a plumbing video and I'm like, oh, okay, I know how to do that. I just watched the video. Hey, Mr. Plumber, can you come over and do this for me? I just saw you doing a video of it on YouTube, but there's no way I can do that, right? So,
right.
Yeah, I think we do overthink that. I think we could probably give away plenty, right? And if we were coming from an authentic place, people go, you know what? Like, she's an expert. And I could sit here and listen to her for the next 5 years and probably get to a place where I could do what she's talking about, but I just want her to help me do it faster.
100%. I think at the end of the day, people are looking for results. They're not looking to become what you are, right? So like if I go watch a plumbing video, I don't want to be a plumber. I want to make sure that things are running right in my house. When people are watching me, it's like, I don't want to be a copywriter. I don't want to be a messaging expert. I want to take the strategies from doing messaging to get more clients so I can do more of what I love. So I think it's also important to be mindful of that. You could give the absolute best away and people are still going to say, I'd rather you just do it for me so I can still operate in my own little zone of genius.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't do it for you folks, but I gave it away a few episodes ago, Bob. I'll give it away again. Because one of the things I can do is I can get you from a sofa across the finish line in a marathon in 3 to 4 months, right? And if you want that, folks, all you got to do is text run a marathon, one word, run a marathon to 59559. And I will help you. I will give you the first few weeks of your training program, or I will coach you all the way across that finish line.
Hey, man, guess who's not texting run a marathon to 59559? He's got two thumbs. He's wearing a place hat. This guy right here is not texting run a marathon to 59559, but the rest of you should. The rest of you should.
I got a bunch of people when I asked, it's amazing. Only less than 1% of the population will ever run a marathon in their lifetime. Yet I got a bunch of people, Bob, when I asked on that episode, we were talking about it a while ago, that reached out and said, I want to know more. And some of them said, Chad, thanks for the information. I gave them some general information. And then some of them said, Chad, I need to talk to you every week to make sure that I'm doing it and held accountable to it, and turned it into, coaching opportunity.
Man, I'm legally required at this point to let everybody know the first guy that ever ran a marathon dropped dead when he arrived in Athens at the end.
That's
just so you guys know.
Wow.
Dropped dead.
And he didn't run 26.2 miles. That was changed because the Queen wanted the marathon extended so that they could see it from.
Yeah, that dude ran like 24.8 and died on the spot, Chad.
Wow. I'll sign up to learn how to run a 15K.
Okay, we can take care of that too. I don't have a code for that one though. You'd have to run a marathon.
I'll still run a marathon and then I'll commit to 35% of it.
There you go.
And you can just give up halfway through. All right, so Maya, wrap it all up for us. You've talked about confidence. You've talked about branding, right? Having this brand awareness, mastering our story there, all that. Give our audience that kind of one last thought, one last piece to pull it all together. It might be something you've said. It might be something brand new, but the thing that they're going to hear last, so they're going to take away from this episode.
I'm still crying. We just glossed over Chad calling me a loser, basically. So
he called you a quitter. He called you a quitter. Words matter. Words matter, man.
So really the takeaway is I want you guys to build a brand around something that you are going to get to the finish line, no matter how hard it is, no matter what the discipline is, no matter what the sacrifices are, the thing that you are very excited about, the thing that you have a burning passion around, but most importantly, you have actual expertise and experience, and you can get people results around. I want you to show up with confidence. I want you to show up with a heart and a desire to serve, meaning when you get online, you're not overthinking the likes. You're not overthinking, should I go live? What do I look like? Do I need to fix my hair? You are hitting record because you want to serve people, and you're going to show up consistently. Bob, I'm sure, has messed up dozens, hundreds of times over the last 20 years.
Chad made you say that. Chad made you say that. It's true, but I'm not sure how you would know that.
Just through experience.
Look, anybody that's gotten to a point 20 years later has messed up a whole bunch of times, right? It's not, I don't share those on the socials, but it's happening every single day. 100%.
You guys should share the mess ups. Once you overcome them, don't share, how they're like, be authentic. Don't share the mess ups while you're going through them, because then you're not showing up as an expert. You're just venting online to people. But I messed up 100 times last week. I messed up 1,000 times last year. And so don't be afraid to mess up. That's just part of the game. It's trial and error. Don't let your ego get the best of you. Show up with a heart to serve. Get to the finish line. Don't be a quitter.
That's it.
She did it. She tied the whole thing together, Chad. Usually you do that at the end. She stole her thunder.
He stole my segment. That's what I'm an expert at. Segueing and tying all these podcast episodes up. And Maya, you did it for me beautifully. Folks, it's Maya Elious. Her website is her name. It's MayaElious.com. If you want to know more, just go check it out. She'll be there. She'll be happy to connect, answer any questions, and see if she can provide some service to you. And we challenge you, take a moment, really sit down and think about it at the end of this episode before you just start listening to the next one or going on to the next thing. What are you the expert at? What's that thing you're in the top 1% that you truly need to let the world know and be messaging about more often? Because that's going to be the thing that takes you from here to wherever there is. All right, make sure you're subscribed.
Hey, real quick, Chad, normally you just take us right out here. Maya, this was a really fun episode. We do a lot of these, and sometimes they're lame and boring. This was not one of those. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you today.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was really fun. I appreciate it.
Bob, it wasn't lame and boring because we had a guest, and it wasn't just you I had to talk to. So, folks,
those are the lame, boring ones. I'll give you that.
Until our next episode, as always, do good.